the Sustainability Warriors podcast. My name is Ashley.
My name's Parker.
I'm Lily.
And that was Cashy that you heard in the background. Let's just start it off. Are you guys ready for a good sustainability story?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So my story today is on fast fashion. There's been some development in the news with some fast fashion companies trying to bring down their carbon emissions and start treating their workers a living wage, humanely, whatever. Some quick stats for everyone who doesn't know what fast fashion is. According to goodonyou.eco, the fashion industry is responsible for 8% of carbon emissions, and the textile sector uses 10 to 20% of the worldwide pesticide use when they're growing their cotton and other materials. According to the Saturday Evening Post, rubber, leather, and textiles make up more than 9% of municipal waste, which is a lot considering all of that should not be going in the landfill. I think it should be being donated, not that that's the answer, but that's a lot.
A lot of the stuff that gets donated ends up in the landfills anyways.
That's also true, so that could be considered in that percentage. But
it's chaos.
Well, here's an even worse fact for you. Apparently, the average American throws away 81 pounds of clothing yearly. Throws them in the trash.
Just in the trash?
In the trash.
I at least
the average
donate
American.
I at least donate mine when I try to clean out my closet. It's so easy though, I feel like. Because I had actually done a paper on fast fashion in my undergrad years. And the one reason why it's so hard to get away from that, especially for our generation, is because our clothes are also a part of how we express ourselves so much, more so than previous generations.
Yeah.
So it's more a part of us, and so it's just so much cheaper for us because obviously not all of us make six figures and stuff. So it's just the easiest way to express ourselves. Yeah, I'm currently unemployed.
But yeah, you're so right, and I feel like our generation, we change the way we express ourselves so quickly too.
Yeah.
One day I'll buy a shirt and the next day I'll be like, yeah, I don't really like this shirt anymore. And it's it should be, I don't know, buying clothes should be more of a conscious process for us,
I think the solution to that is, at least on the consumer side, is buying versatile, basic clothing that you can kind of use for everything. Because I find that I wear, even though I have so many clothes, I usually wear the same things that are just practical, comfortable, and stylish. So
yeah,
I think all of those three, and if you were able to make something more sustainable, like the materials wise and other stuff throughout the supply chain, it would probably help a lot.
I totally agree. There's actually companies out there that do make those staples like you're talking about, but the prices are so freaking high because they're not fast fashion. They're not $5 like at Forever 21 or whatever.
Or $2 from what is that one? Fashion Nova? There's one other
Fashion
Nova. It is really bad.
Yeah. Just
from what I've heard.
Yeah, I'll actually talk a little bit more about them in the story too, that they're just, really bad. So I didn't define fast fashion for you guys, sorry. Fast fashion is basically cheap clothing that is quick to make, quick to sell at these little boutiques, at these little stores, and it's online too. And people, they buy it as single-use clothing. I mean, I've seen girls and guys too, that will buy a shirt for a special occasion and then just be like, well, I'll never wear this again. Donate or toss it.
For example, this past Halloween is definitely a holiday of one-use costumes.
Yeah.
Because no one really wants to wear their costume from last year and whatnot.
Yeah. And who wants to wear a used costume, right? You can't
I
would too, but
I found my costume out of my closet. I was just a lifeguard, so I just
there you go.
Some beach wear.
There you go. Yeah, so to go more into the story, specifically in fast fashion, I want to talk about textile slashing. So on Instagram, I follow this woman called the Dumpster Diving Mama. She's gotten a lot of media coverage. She's been in a lot of the news stories. Basically what she does is she goes dumpster diving at these really expensive stores like Bath and Body Works, Burlington Coat Factory, Coach outlets, Gucci outlets, Target, Walmart. She goes dumpster diving everywhere. And one thing that she found recently was, sorry, let me see my notes. So she found tons and tons of Coach purses that were slashed by employees. So when these stores can't sell what they're selling, say it's out of season, they'd rather slash it than donate it or sell it at a cheaper, discounted price because they want to keep that brand superiority. Luxury, sure.
The reason why it's luxury is because of its scarcity, and it's like obviously people paid a lot of money, and if they were just to donate it, then it loses its value as far as like social status.
Yeah, I bought that purse a year ago for $700. Why do you get it for $70?
Yeah,
that kind of thing. So, yeah, then you don't have that status anymore. If anyone can have it, just
and then
have
just
to
go
wait.
to a different competitor there. So
exactly.
And it's not only with just like fast fashion. I know people that have gone dumpster diving for like makeup. Granted, I think makeup's something that you shouldn't dumpster dive for because that's just a hygiene.
Well, actually, the dumpster diving mom that I was talking about, she does go to Ulta and stuff and get makeup too. She makes sure that she doesn't get the testers and she gets all the unopened stuff, which I don't think there's any problem with that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't wear it personally.
Me neither.
But it's better than it going to the landfill. I guess someone actually uses it, especially for those cosmetic companies that do test on animals. They're testing on them for like no reason, you know. They make all of these products and then you're just throwing them away. But she's found unopened makeup, holiday decorations, candles, coats from Burlington Coat Factory, like actual fur coats that were slashed, Coach bags and wallets, furniture, toys, decor, all kinds of stuff. And what she does is she takes them from the dumpster, she keeps some, she sells others. But with the Coach bags being slashed, you can't really resell them or sew them up or anything like that. And it's Coach's policy is that their employees must cut those bags before they end up in the trash, so people can't grab them. She's found some that are not slashed. I assume there's an employee that might be going for it later, or they just lazy
probably.
And so there's a big speculation that this is Coach's policy, not only to keep that luxury brand name, is to also do it for tax breaks. They claim that these items are destroyed, and so they can claim it as an accidental claim and get reimbursed for those ripped or broken items during transit or in the factory, so they get that money back. Coach has denied this, saying the company is not claiming any tax benefits for in-store returns that are unsellable and not able to be donated or that were destroyed in the store, which is a slick way to like get around answering that question, I think.
Answering questions with other questions. Very vague.
Yeah, very vague. That's what I'm saying. And so Coach's website says that they're committed to repairing bags. So don't ditch it. They quote, "So don't ditch it, repair it. It's another small thing we can do to keep bags out of the landfill and reduce our impact on the environment," end quote. But the circular economy that they're claiming exists obviously isn't there because they're slashing them themselves.
They just want to make their higher class clientele feel like they're making a difference.
Exactly. It's greenwashing, basically.
Of course.
And so this is what's been recently in the news. As of October 11th, they have had a lot of backlash on Instagram, so they made a post basically telling people to shut up, that they've supposedly stopped slashing products. I can edit the photo in of their Instagram post, but basically their statement reads, "We have now ceased destroying in-store returns of damaged and unsellable goods, and they are dedicated to maximizing such product reuse in our Coach Reloved program and other circularity programs. Last year, we donated product valued over $55 million to support low-income families, individuals in need, those re-entering the workplace, and other educational programs. We will continue to develop and implement solutions to responsibly repurpose, recycle, and reuse excess or damaged goods," end quote. So as of right now, we'll see if they do that. I did not see any proof that they actually did donate all of those products to those said people. It's so easy to just say it and hope no one
It won't be the first time
investigates
a
it.
celebrity or brand just said, "I do this," but actually not doing it. But
Exactly.
it takes the heat off them.
It does. It shuts people up for a little bit and let them
forget and move on to the next thing.
Yep. So it's good that we've been putting pressure on Coach because it's now putting pressure on companies like Urban Outfitters, Walmart, Eddie Bauer, Michael Kors, Victoria's Secret, JCPenney, H&M, Louis Vuitton, Nike, and they've all been accused of slashing and cutting and burning and all that stuff too. So it's putting a lot of pressure on them to not do the same. And something interesting I found in my research is that in France, it's actually prohibited and against the law for companies to dispose of any unsold non-food product. So food products, they still throw away because sometimes it goes bad.
Yeah.
But now it's against the law for France to throw away any textiles or anything like that, which I think is really cool because it's not going to go bad sitting in your warehouse until you can figure out the proper streams of donating or recycling or
just end of life.
Or even, end of life, whatever. So I think it's cool that France did that. I think we need to do that.
I'm sure other countries do it too. It's just so weird how there's policies out there that are beneficial to the environment that we just don't adapt. And I feel like it's something so small and especially important at like the company level, not like consumer like individuals, but where it's like
it's putting the responsibility back on them, and it's not hurting anything either. It's not like, oh, this policy makes us lose so and so amount of money each year.
Yeah, they earn plenty of money. I mean, Coach is like, I feel like it used to be considered more luxury, but now it's like a mid-luxury brand. I'm sure they make plenty of money. I really don't think anyone's truly suffering. And
but
it's not
the
going
world
to
runs on money. If you can get more money, they're gonna have more money.
Yeah, but it goes to that like those top people at the top of the chain. So they like to line their pockets.
Definitely. So I guess the last thing I'm gonna say for my story is yes, a lot of products do end up being donated or doing clothing swaps, whatever. But personally, the last time I went thrifting, half of the stuff I saw was from these fast fashion companies. Shein, Fashion Nova, Forever 21. And I'm not going thrifting to find cheap single-use clothing.
Yeah.
I'm going thrifting to find quality stuff that people don't want anymore, that's gonna last years. Vintage. I don't want a shirt vintage. Not necessarily vintage. That's a plus.
Yes.
But just something more durable. And if you're gonna buy from these fast fashion companies, keep them, use them until they fall apart, because that's really what they're built for. Don't donate them for someone else to buy and then have it fall apart on them. That's just my opinion, because I'm tired of seeing that stuff in the thrift stores.
That's very true, but also when I was doing my research on fast fashion previously, they are only meant to last 10 washes.
10 washes?
Yeah. So you can wear that, if you wore it once a week, every week, it would be like what, 2.5 months?
2.5 months, yeah.
Well, yeah, and that's, I guess, jeans-wise, like maybe you don't wash your jeans every time, so like maybe you can skip a few washes, but I feel like that also will deteriorate.
I feel like jeans are a little bit more sturdier, but like, because like my mom,
you're talking about the thin blouses.
Oh
and everything.
When I used to like shop at Forever 21 when I was in like maybe like early high school, my mom would say, stop buying this stuff because it would just fall apart in the laundry.
Yeah. It does.
It certainly does.
It's crap.
One thing that I want to say though is that like these brands that are accused of like slashing stuff and now they're trying to do these programs to obviously make themselves look better, whether they want to actually help the environment or not. I think Patagonia was the one, at least from my knowledge, one of the first ones to do the whole repurpose and we'll fix it for you, lifetime warranty.
Definitely.
And I think it's really cool. Like, acknowledge the ones that, you know, are trying to genuinely, I do feel like they're trying to do the right thing. I haven't personally looked into Patagonia, but I mean, it's a start and it helps obviously influence other ones to do it at the very least. Try.
I mean, the brands that have that, I mean, it's really some integrity for their work. I mean, I used to have it, or I have an Eno now, about the same thing. One of my Enos broke, and I sent them a message, and they're like, yeah, we'll send you a new one. You can either repair that one, but either way, like, we're going to send you another one. I'm like, wow, I wish I could have sent it back, had them repair it, and then send it back, you know, like, I don't know. The integrity of these companies could be a little bit better, but
they're trying. I mean, it's definitely not like an overnight transition for sure. And like, at least on the individual side, I know I like shopping and I like clothes. So it's so, like, I can say this and be high and mighty, but you know, it's hard. It's harder than you think, because like, I mean, at least growing up in America, especially having the coolest clothes and stuff.
Oh yeah, I still shop
I'm
at
pretty sure
Target.
that's every country.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair. But I feel like in
That's why
some places
so many
it's
things
worse.
are being thrown away, is because everyone
Right.
wants to be cool.
We all want to be a cool guy.
Cool
Well,
kid.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, that's the end of my story. I'll put my sources in the show notes. Thanks for listening. Who wants to go next?
I think it's Parker's turn to go next.
Oh, yay. So mine is about the Netherlands railways and how they're 100% solar powered as of 2018, 17, sorry. The goal was to be in 18, and they finished a whole year early by completing their 100% wind-powered railways. But not all their power comes from the Netherlands. It comes from also from Belgium and Finland, because they just have newly reconstructed wind farms off the coast of Belgium and Finland to help power the Netherlands. It's through the EU, so so they're planning to do this European wide, but with limited number of projects. So having countries supply other countries with power. So not every country has to make their own type of wind farm, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really
Or as
feasible,
much, yeah.
for every single country, because I'm sure there's some that are nearly not as much.
Yeah.
Same way solar, like if you were to put solar panels in London, that wouldn't go so well.
Yeah, no.
Right.
Yeah, there's no
Exactly.
reason not to work together.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And especially within the EU, it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, very connected.
And the ones in the Schengen zone, I think I'm pronouncing that right, where it's just like Norway and Iceland are in the EU, but they have a bunch of agreements with the EU.
Yeah.
So like you can cross into their borders and stuff like that without passports still, even though they're not a part of the EU.
Nice.
Which most Eastern and Western Europe are a part of. Just clicked off my notes. Yeah, so, and this, they're planning on having 1.4 trillion watts per hour go through for renewable railways per year, because they run about 1.2 million train trips a day in the Netherlands.
Wow.
So to have 100% solar powered on 1.2 million trips is a lot of you need a lot
travel.
of a lot of renewable energy right there.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then so that's about each train requires 1.2 kilowatts per hour of electricity per year, which is about equal to how much light supply is in Amsterdam, the whole city, all the households. And they have about 1,200 trains running, like per day.
That's insane.
Yeah, and then comparing this to the U.S., so the U.S. is just starting on projects to even get high-speed rail, which if it has electricity flowing through it, then it can be renewable possibly, with most of its power.
So do you think the U.S. would connect, so in Florida, we could obviously produce a ton of solar energy, and then we go to Michigan, and they have all these wind farms. Do you think that we could have some kind of cohesive web of energy, kind of like
I mean, yeah,
Europe?
you could definitely do it like Europe. I mean, that's how.
Do you think I don't know if that's under state jurisdiction or
Yeah, that's something I have no idea.
It would definitely have to go through federal, but you could definitely do it. Kind of like how, basically, there's 3 electric grids for the United States. There's basically the East Coast, the side of the Mississippi, and then the West Side, and then Texas has its own power grid.
Oh my gosh.
So when they had that snowstorm last time,
where it completely went out.
Yeah, it completely went out because no one else could supply them because they're on their own power grid.
Right.
So I feel like you need to be together, just like you mentioned, power, solar power. What if you can't have solar power everywhere, and you know, there's not even wind farms everywhere either.
Yeah.
That doesn't get sun, so you'd have to be able to supply them with power too if you build the rails through there. Just like Florida, I mean, California and the Northeast are the only other that are building high-speed rail. So that's a large gap for the U.S. to pull within, and got a long way to go to even be renewable in that situation.
Yeah.
So, because you know most of the U.S. trains are not powered by renewable source, so they really got a long way to go to catch up to the Netherlands and the EU in general.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my story.
Very cool.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
cool that they like finished it a whole year early. Like that
Yeah,
would never
they-
happen here.
And they only started it in 2016, so it only took them like
Wow.
a year to like supply all that.
I mean, I have
Which
no
they
idea
already
what
had
goes
wind
into
farms,
it.
but like to link
Yeah.
it all to the transportation,
That's
or
a
like
lot to do
to
in a
rail
year.
and then get from Belgium and Finland.
Yeah, I don't even know what that would require, but I know it's impressive.
Right.
But
Yeah, good story.
yeah. Okay, so I guess it's my turn now. So what I'm going to be talking about is urbanization and how it reduces biodiversity. And I'll be talking about a specific case, but I'll just go into the beginning of so urbanization. It has three main parts to it, which is habitat loss, fragmentation, and like biotic homogenization. Homogenization?
Homogenization.
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 No.
Right.
Woo!
I think, yeah, I think.
We
I
got
think
it.
that's
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Homogenization.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
That
guess.
was a hard word.
So, increased urbanization leads to the decline in biodiversity. So, urbanization is driven by like increasing like human population and our demand for space to build our infrastructure and natural resources that we need to support that human population. And because of expanding infrastructure, it destroys habitats and starts to fragment the ecological communities, resulting in these fragmented habitats that end up in patches of its original continuous form. And the reason why fragmentation is bad is because many species require a certain amount of land that's continuous for them to have maintain a stable population. So when you find fragmentation, there's definitely a fewer amount of species that you can find, so lower biodiversity in other words. And aside from just the size of a patch that indicates biodiversity, as far as like when fragmentation happens, the distance between patches and the quality of the intervening land between the patches are also factors. So
guest starring. Get down, cat.
goodbye. Okay. So the farther distance between patches, the higher degree there is of like isolation between, because these animals don't have a good way to get to the other patches.
They're gonna be crossing roads and
Yeah.
getting hit
That's how
and
you
being
get a lot of like,
roadkill.
inbreeding too among
Yeah.
like packs and groups of animals.
Species, yeah, that's what I'm gonna talk
Because they
about in a
can't,
little
yeah,
bit.
because they can't get to other packs, and then they're just
They're
inbreeding.
they become isolated populations,
Yeah.
and they have only access to each other. So
Yeah,
It's a good gene pool.
There's an island in Michigan that's Isle Royale. It's like a national park, but it's just an island that has like wolves and moose on it, and they just like been inbreeding, and they're getting like
weird mutations.
now, and they have to, I think, maybe reintroduce other wolves into the population.
Yeah, that
I think the moose population is also very high because I think it's happening more among the wolves because there's less wolves.
Yeah, that makes sense, especially if they have the moose population to feed off of. They're not like dying off, and like the healthy ones. I don't know.
Right.
But I also know that cheetahs are another thing that have like 3 main genetic mutations because the small
Is that why
amount.
they're so fast? I'm just
That's a
kidding.
good one.
Fast to catch
No,
a
they
prey.
have
They gotta
they
catch-
have
catch a
messed
gazelle.
up teeth and a asymmetrical skull and a kinked tail.
Oh.
So it's very like it's not bad per se.
Devastating,
It's
yeah.
like pretty neutral, but it's just a weird one that they all have because they're just mating with their siblings.
Yeah.
And it's such a weird thing because like I personally love big cats and they're so cool. So I didn't even know that before. So I think
Yeah.
it's definitely fascinating. But
Yeah.
that is not the species we'll be talking about today either.
Ooh.
So these fragmented patches rely on immigration mostly to maintain like a stable population. So species actually may become endangered or even locally become extinct, like they can no longer be found in that given region. In the United States in particular, urbanization has led to 275 species directly becoming, I believe, endangered, and has directly introduced invasive species. I know when I did my USF internship in my undergrad, we were looking at the quality of rivers, specifically urban ones, and it wasn't per se like the animals we were looking at, more is the plants and the micro and macro invertebrates, but the plants, just about everything that we saw was invasive. We would rarely see any native plants, which was super sad.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty rough, but when we did find something natural, it was pretty nice to see, and it was still beautiful, but like it's so weird how invasive like places can be, where just in surrounding areas that have been developed.
Yeah, you can see actually in Chattanooga, Tennessee, kudzu is crazy over there. Like you can find native species, but kudzu, no matter where you look, there it is. And it's like, wow, they really crept in there when that city was booming. It just exploded.
What was it?
Kudzu?
Oh, okay, I don't know what that is.
No, it's like one of the most, let me define it for you guys. It's like one of the most invasive species that the southeastern U.S. Has problems with.
The headline says invasive vine.
Yeah,
that ate the South.
The invasive vine that ate the South. It's known as mile a minute, which means it just spreads so fast, like spread a mile in a minute. Kudzu is a group of climbing, coiling, and trailing perennial vines native to much of East Asia, Southeast Asia, and some Pacific islands, but invasive in many parts of the world, including North America. And I believe it came through the Atlanta airport. It hitched a ride on some kind of baggage, the seeds or something, and it just exploded. Like, I can add a photo for the YouTube watchers to see, but for you guys, this is what it looks like. It's just horrendous.
Yeah, that is absolutely covering everything. I cannot see the ground nor the trees.
No, and it cuts out like all the sunlight from all of the little.
Everything.
Yeah, it outcompetes absolutely everything, and you just can't kill it because it spreads so quickly. No, I'm gonna edit a photo in above our heads later. Yeah, it's just it's the worst. So yeah, it's the same thing with urbanization. Kudzu has like hit the South like
another plant that's very similar, I learned about it in my undergrad, is Melaleuca. It's actually invasive in Florida, specifically South Florida, so it should be around here. It was originally introduced, I believe, to help with like wetland environments, as far as I believe it might have been to absorb water actually when they were trying to develop the area.
Sure.
So it displaces all the native vegetation. I think it might displace like cypress, like hammocks and stuff.
Yeah.
But it originates from Australia and Malaysia, and it was brought here, and it's absolutely been rampant. And it's got introduced, it says, in 1906, and also as a potential commercial timber wood for us to harvest as well, because it grows rapidly. So
yeah.
I mean, at least
it's filling all the niches that weren't filled.
Yeah.
So it grows crazy.
Yeah, so it's crazy, especially I think it's good for local examples as well. Like just, it doesn't have to be somewhere far away. Like this next case study is in Australia. But moving on to the case study. So this study focused on the tiger snake populations in Australia. They are geographically isolated. So they found that they were also genetically less diverse because they kept inbreeding. So specifically, the study goes into the subspecies of tiger snakes, the western tiger snakes. They're obviously found in the southwestern part of Australia. They live in coastal wetlands and creeks as far as their environments go. They vary in color and length between the subspecies. They're actually highly venomous. So they use a neurotoxin to kill their prey, and sometimes will use strangulation to also kill their prey. And not only does it use a neurotoxin to paralyze its prey,
Mhm.
it coagulates, so it stops your blood from circulating properly. So you just, for its intended prey, which is smaller than humans, it's not very good outcome. So if you were ever to get bit by a tiger snake,
So it only takes one.
I'm not sure.
I assume so.
I'm
Yeah,
assuming so too,
so.
because it's listed. It used to be the #1 most venomous snake in Australia. So it got replaced by some other one. But if medically treated, it should be fine. But
Yeah.
if you don't treat it, if you don't go to the hospital, if you get bit, 40 to 60% mortality rate.
Ooh.
So that's
How
like-
long does it take it to come on?
I'm pretty sure it's pretty quick.
Immediate?
Yeah. So the actual symptoms of getting bit, if you ever decide to travel to Australia,
At this point, I don't think I will.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pass on that one. Their spiders are like
But
that
cons-
big too.
Yeah, yeah.
I would
Something
love to
like
go to
that.
Australia, but
Okay.
they will have localized pain, numbness, tingling, sweating, and dyspnea, which means shortness of breath, because it's obviously you can't
So
get
every time I walk up the
blood
stairs.
not sick.
yeah, pretty much
Right.
paralysis and death. Those
Oh.
symptoms of death. Yeah,
Not from walking upstairs.
you could.
Yeah.
So they do have some natural predators there as well. They have the eastern small-eyed snake, which I believe is the #1 venomous one.
Oh.
Yes. Which is scary because the ones that are small are the ones you don't see.
That is so true.
I used to have pygmy rattles in my backyard, in my hometown. Really tiny little things that are very venomous. Other ones are like, they're the prey of like birds of prey. So that's like ibises, butcherbirds, harriers, kites, kookaburras, things like that. Yeah, they're really cool,
I love
right?
those.
So their diet consists of mainly frogs and tadpoles. So the thing about frogs and tadpoles, I'm sure you guys know, amphibians are really affected by the environment. So pollution, just very temperamental to what goes on in their environment, very specific.
Definitely.
So obviously, if their habitat is destroyed or degraded in any way that affects their prey, obviously they're going to lose numbers from that, and the inbreeding is going to become way, way worse.
Yeah.
But since that's not their only source of food, like they also eat small mammals if they're big enough, because some of them range from like 4 to 5 feet, and there's some that range from 6 to 9 feet. So the different subspecies definitely vary in length.
Yeah.
So taking out small mammals versus taking down the frog, quite different.
For sure.
So they eat bats, lizards, skinks, insects, birds, fish, and if desperate enough, they will cannibalize each other.
Ruthless.
Yes.
Very-
So the reproduction cycle, there are ritualistic combats between males for the female attention. So obviously, when there's less of them, the stakes are quite high for them to have a mate, even if it is someone that they're related to. You can't really be picky.
Gotta love
Which
nature.
Yeah, so they're oviparous. I did not pronounce that right, but it basically means like the eggs inside its body, and it gives like live birth. So their clutches, luckily, are it can be quite big. So it can range from 10 to 64 babies in one clutch,
Oh.
which is quite a bit.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Compared to
That's a
humans who
lot.
can do like, without medical help, like maybe like 4 or something like that.
Been done for more, but yeah.
Yeah, but like how often?
The top is 9.
Naturally?
I don't know if that's naturally, but still, 9's a lot.
Yeah, I know, I used to watch
One.
8 plus 8 or whatever it was. That was
Yeah.
a great show.
Yeah.
You
Gotta love TLC.
So, yeah, I know, right? So obviously this is bad. They're losing their habitat. Even though they are super venomous, they're important to the environment. I'm sure to control their prey as well. But obviously people are most likely terrified of them. So the ones that are around, they're going to kill them.
Yeah.
Because they obviously don't want to be
At risk.
paralyzed.
Yeah.
Or have any other symptoms that I previously mentioned. But they won't be able to evolve with their habitat and changing because their gene pool is getting so small. So there's not likely going to be a beneficial mutation, and
Right.
most likely going to be a negative one. Most likely. And then other factors that can indicate or threaten the species is soil erosion, overgrazing, competition for food between them and invasive trout, because they also eat tadpoles and frogs mainly. Since they are also higher on the food chain, they require a specific environment with certain conditions and an abundant amount of prey to support a stable population.
Yeah.
So,
are there any conservation efforts going on? I'm sure there may be some zoos.
I have no idea.
I hope
I
so.
think I did see that they had some conservation efforts towards it. It says it's of least concern. The IUCN Red List has tagged the tiger snake as least concern, indicating this species, the tiger snake, is quite large. So maybe since I originally got this article, maybe they've recovered.
I'm sure you're right. I'm sure their habitat is still this fragmented, and they like have decent numbers, but they're not doing so well.
Probably just the inbreeding part that is going to be long-term viability. Because in the short term, like, yeah, they're having kids.
They'll make it to the next generation, but
maybe in, like, say 15, 20 years or something, they're just all going to be messed up to the point where they can no longer reproduce with each other.
Yeah. Gosh, yeah, I've never heard of that kind of snake.
Me neither. Mostly because it's a different part of the world.
That's true. Yeah, that's fair.
So that is very fair to your point. But
yeah, interesting.
That is all I have to talk about.
Good stories. Well, anything else that you guys want to talk about in this first episode of our podcast? No?
I have nothing else to add.
Okay, well, thank you everyone for watching. We hope you enjoyed our sustainability stories. I hope some of them gave you hope. I hope some of them got you inspired. We'll catch you for the next one.
Bye.
Bye.